Yo, what it do, Houston? I mean, St. Louis. I mean,
Really?
Houston.
Really?
I mean, St. Louis. What
That's
it
how they
do,
do.
St. Louis? Y'all know what time it is. It is Tuesday, 7 a.m. So it is time for the St. Louis Hustle Podcast with your boy, Cortez Hustle, and my girl, Michelle. Hey!
Hey, hey,
And
hey, 7 o'clock.
it is, that was not a mistake. We are live and direct from Houston, Texas, people. At least I
Houston.
am. Michelle is still
He be on the road.
in
I'm
St.
still in St. Louis. You ain't have to say it like that. She's still in St. Louis. You ain't even have to say it like
Look, she's still in St. Louis. She don't travel, right?
that. I'm gonna take a trip just because. Nah, I'm gonna go remote and
That,
jack up all kind of stuff.
that makes me think about Kanye West. Say, you ain't used to going through customs. You ain't never been nowhere, huh?
See, St. Louis, that's how they do you when they leave. Delhi. Okay.
So we got a
Sorry.
wonder-filled show for you guys this morning, man. We're
Yes.
talking daddy issues. And I posed a question when I put the stream out there. Who suffers the most from daddy's issues? Is it men or is it
Mm,
women? Do me a favor, man. Comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and
yeah.
or your brand for a free shout out. Just don't post any links. And then answer that question.
Yeah.
Who suffers the most from daddy issues, men or women? And tell us why. And I guess we're
Why?
going to roll our
Why?
intro.
No. Yes. Intro. Sir.
Yeah,
See, when you
this,
leave, you jack everything up. I don't know what we're
this,
doing.
this is the fake intro, people, because we don't have an intro yet. And we keep begging y'all to hook us up with somebody who can do an intro for us. But we don't know. Financial mentor in training. What's up, Janelle? Welcome to the stream this morning. Stop it, Michelle. Oh, you don't recognize Janelle as Big Blacks, but now you know that's Big Black. So she said she got to keep it. Big Blacks barbecue is in the building. So yes, we need someone to hook us up with a
Barbecue?
track
No. Yeah,
and
track.
some intro. If you guys know how to do intro, video intro, audio intro, whatever,
Right.
just hook your boy and your girl up with
Hook
an
us up.
intro.
I
St.
need to
Louis
quit playing.
themed, and that's what we're looking
It
for.
should be about uses. It
It
should
should
be
be about
about
us.
uses.
It should
And
be
the
about
show.
Lou. It
St.
should be about
Louis.
all things St. Louis. So comment in the chat where you're from. Also, let us know the name of your business and or your brand if you have a business
Yep.
and or brand. And let's
Yep.
officially get this show started, Shell, because we've got a
Boom.
lot to cover on this
Lots.
daddy issue thing. So let's officially get it cracking.
Boom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. That's my girl, Michelle A. And we are coming
Hey.
to you live and direct from the Monetize My Life studios here in Houston, Texas, where we're
Mm,
talking all about
mm.
daddy issues. But I got to throw a huge shout out
Daddy
to the
issues.
sponsor. Listen, guys, I wrote a book called Monetize My Life, and it's
Yes.
designed to help you take your
That
gifts,
right there.
talents, special abilities, passions, experience, and expertise and turn those things into income. If you go over to monetizemylifenow.com, you'll be able to get yourself a copy of that book. But what I would advise you to do is get the bundle with the How to Become an Influencer course. And man, you're going to be on your way. So Tamika says, good morning. Good morning, Tamika. Welcome
Good
to the
morning.
live stream this morning. And
Hey, girl.
don't forget to share the show,
Share the
subscribe
show.
to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, and
Subscribe.
all of those
Subscribe.
good things. Chalet, how was your weekend?
Man, let me tell you something. First of all, you jumped up, y'all took on off, right? Over there in the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Okay,
Yes.
I'm in my feelings. Y'all left, y'all doing it big. I don't know how to feel. I don't know. I'm gonna go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go out back. I'm gonna go across the store to the dollar store. I'm gonna go somewhere and broadcast remote because I got to keep up with y'all. I got to be right there in the pocket. So my weekend was it was okay. I can't complain. It was beautiful out. It was hot. It was warm. It was all kinds of wonderfulness. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I really can't complain. School was still I don't know about me in school. Now I love the Lord, he heard my cry.
Wait, wait
But
a minute. You
it's
can't
only
not
been 2 weeks.
know about you in school, and it's just been 2 weeks in, and
2 weeks. It's a
that's
lot
like
of reading.
4 classes, 5 classes in. You talking about you don't know?
It's a lot of
Wait a minute, Michelle.
reading.
You froze up. Let me kick you off and bring you back on. Hold on. There we go.
See, that's what
Lot,
happened when you make me read.
lot of reading.
There's a lot of reading. So I mean, I'm gonna hang in there because I done spent my money. So I can't go nowhere. I done spent my money. So I gotta stay in it. But it's a whole lot of reading. I find myself like, can y'all wait for me? Wait. So
Mm,
a whole lot of writing and stuff. So but that is school is school. I'm learning a lot. You know, I ain't
good.
ready to go out and bust nobody's head yet, but I'm learning a lot. Um, let's see. Let's just jump into the corona stuff real quick. The numbers, we oh, you just keep kicking me off. I think that's
Because
you. That's
you,
Houston.
well, it is this remote thing, and you freezing, and I'm trying to. If you're gonna be frozen, then I at least want to get you in a good freeze frame. Um,
Right. Don't have me like, don't, a mess. Don't. That's, see, that's how Houston hate on St. Louis. That's really what it is. It's
but
the hater in them.
we can still hear you just fine, though.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, well, that's good. The numbers real quick. Missouri is up around, I think we're at 76.6.
mhm.
Um, and then Illinois, they are in that 250 range,
Yeah.
250,000 range. So y'all know I don't cover death. So shout out as always to our first responders because we love
Yes.
y'all. We
Yeah.
love y'all.
Absolutely.
Shout out
Absolutely.
to you. The Republican National Thing is going
Hmm.
down this week. And that's what I'm gonna call it, the Republic National Thing, because I don't really remember the RNC or something like that, but it's the
Going
thing.
down. It's going down.
Man, your president is acting a jack wagon already. He is showing his natural orange behind. You hear me? But then
Yes.
he
Yes.
just he mad because his sister telling all his business. That's what it was. First it was the
Yeah.
niece. Now it's the sister. Like he a liar. Oh my God, this man lie more than lies. Oh my God. Everybody like, she ain't again. She ain't lied on you. She's telling the
Right.
truth.
Right. But she ain't helping because when she's saying you a liar, people are like, okay, yes, politician's supposed to be liar. So yes,
Right.
that he's glad. He's glad. Good. Good
Right.
quality to
That's
have
what
to
make them
be a
good.
politician.
Right. That's what make them good. Yeah. So she's putting all their little business out. We want to hear the dirt. Like, did this man dig in his nose and wipe it on people when he was a kid? We want the
Oh man.
dirt. We want the
Yes.
tea. Because I think he's still doing it low key. I think he's still doing it. Creating messes and wiping it on people. So anyway, so that's just where I am today. With
Got you.
my
Got
breakfast getting cold. Anyway.
you. Republican National Convention.
Yeah, the
Let's
thing.
see. Because a lot of folks are saying, man, the Democrats just kind of they blowing the layup here. It's like if you can't beat Donald Trump, man, you probably don't need to be president either. Uh,
You know what? I'll agree. I'll agree. Again, I really think that Michelle and Barack endorsing him pushed him over the top because it was just amazing. This week, all they people, all they're doing is they are not talking about anything substantial that Donald Trump has really done. All they're doing is talk about how what they got their head up his butt, how wonderful he is, how wonderful he is, and how wonderful
right.
he is. He's not
Yeah.
wonderful. And I think we all know that. So get off that train and find a different one. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Talk about he got a lot of money. Talk about he's done an amazing job holding on to his hair. You know what I'm saying? Talk about something else. Pick a different
Yes.
battle.
How does he get on and off Air Force One and that piece stay in place?
You hear me? Do you
It's
hear me?
critical.
I don't know how he do it because I know when I was wearing wigs, I was getting on and off planes. I was like, whoa, hold me down. Hold me. Somebody hold me. Yeah, he's amazing. I'd be like, what kind of glue is
Woo.
that? That's rich
Awesome.
people glue. Yeah,
All right,
that's how
ladies
I
and
do.
gentlemen. The first question of the day is who suffers most from daddy issues. So as you guys know, if you tuned in last week, we talked about mommy issues. Today, we're talking about daddy issues. And Vanessa says, I personally think both suffer just as bad. They're
Yeah.
just in different ways, which plays a part in a major way in their lives. So we're going to get
Yes.
all the way off up into that. So real quick, what say ye, Michelle? Who suffers more,
Man,
mommy or daddy?
I'm
Men or
going to
women?
say I agree with Vanessa. Both can suffer just as much, right? Um,
Mhm.
but I think that because to a little girl, your daddy is your first love, right? Your
Mhm.
daddy is who shapes how you're going to let men treat you from
Mhm.
rest of your life. And if you have a strong relationship with your dad, um, and that love's there, the affection is there, then you tend to have more stable relationships. Not perfect, but maybe perhaps more stable, right?
Mhm.
Um, I think it does affect men. I'm not gonna say subpar. Secondly, so women first, men next. Where
Mhm.
again, how's a man gonna learn how to be a man other than with his daddy?
Right.
You know, that's who's
Yeah.
supposed, or a prominent male figure. That is who's supposed to teach. So, really, in both ways, the man is really detrimental in the household, and not just in the household physically, but mentally and spiritually connected. My dad was in the house, but my dad was not emotionally connected to me at all.
Got
He criticized everything about me, everything I did. I can count on one hand the times my daddy hugged me as a child and showed affection when he
it.
wasn't drunk. And I love my dad because he's still with me. You know what I'm saying? But it kind of
Right.
is what it is, as our president says. Kind of is what it is, you know.
Yeah,
But
mark that
it
down
shapes some
in
things.
history. Mark that down in history. Michelle is quoting President Donald Trump. Uh, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is there. It is. So, but you know, so I know I recognize the damage that is done. I
Mhm.
recognize the damage that my two daughters and their dads were. One dad was there the majority of the time, but the other dad was not. And I see the damage that really um, intermittent
Mhm.
um, um, access has been, but then I see where it's been no access and then intermittent. You know what I'm saying? Ain't
Gotcha.
nobody perfect, but both can be damaging. And I've seen that play out in their lives. You know, I've seen it, experienced it firsthand, but then when you see it third person
Mhm.
on someone you love, it's a big deal. Dad's
Right.
not being in the house for little girls is a big deal. If you a daddy, go see your daughter. I don't know who that's for.
Right.
Go see your
Right.
child. Anyway,
All right. So let me
anyway.
give you my answer. Let me shout out Jazzy Boutique in the building. Jazzy Tees Crafting. I always like to do my business shout outs, man. I appreciate you guys,
Awesome.
you entrepreneurs tuning in. Corey Brown says, I think men suffer most. And I've got to
What?
agree with Corey. And here's why I
Corey,
agree with
what?
Corey Brown
Sit down.
and
I don't
men
agree.
suffering more
What? Okay.
because it goes undetected for so many years and creates layer upon layer upon layer of issue on issue on issue. And with women, it's easily detected, or at least it's readily identifiable by a lot of women. Hey,
Mm.
that issues, and that's what I'm fighting through. Men, because we suppress our emotions to begin with, especially emotions male to male. If your daddy wronged you or got you feeling some type of way, you ain't gonna admit it, and you're gonna let that spill over and cause all types of other issues. So men will have umpteen thousand issues, but it's really just one issue called daddy issue. That's just really just what it is. But
Right.
because
I agree.
we won't admit it, and because we will suppress it, we will create all of these other issues will stem from that one issue. So I believe men have the bigger issue because of the reluctance to admit the damage caused by men, because it's not macho to say, hey man, I'm all jacked up in the head because my daddy didn't love me.
Perhaps. Perhaps that's all y'all gonna get out of me today. Perhaps, perhaps.
See, and Corey agrees. She said, "Listen, uh, yes, women will get help, men will not," and I believe
Perhaps.
that's why so many
I'll agree with
other
that.
issues come to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool,
My
cool,
shirt's
cool.
crooked. My
Oh,
shirt's crooked. Sorry. My bad.
well,
Having a wardrobe malfunction.
Janelle says Jazzy T is the wife. All right, so Jazzy T and Janelle Smith are a couple. So Jazzy
Hi y'all.
T, does Janelle have daddy issues?
Oh, you went
Uh,
right for the jugular.
Janelle, does Jazzy T have daddy
Get out
issues?
their business. It ain't you don't worry about it. We talk about lady. We talk about they get out their business.
I'm just saying, this is what the show is all about. Listen, guys, we got to take a quick break. When we come on the other side of this break, we're going to bring our special guest, certified life coach, is going to join us, Miss Lisa Wilson, and she's going to weigh in heavily on some of these things. And Michelle's got a bunch of questions that we're going to go through kind of rapid fire, because we want to hit on a little bit of all of them. Yeah, man, I can't wait. So y'all make sure y'all keep it locked right here, and we'll be right back on the other side of this break.
1-1 on the other side.
Hey, good morning, wealth champions. Hey, listen.
What?
All right. So
hey, good morning, wealth champions.
My
hey, listen.
Ain't working.
If you want to be
so
financially
we might not
successful,
be taking no break.
You have to do what financially successful people do. And I know there's a few things that all wealthy people have in common. Number one, they understand that building wealth is a team sport. Number two, they understand the power of capitalism and business enterprise. Number three, they love to use systems and leverage. And number four, they all have mentors. My name is H. Cortez, also known as Financial Health Mentor. And for the last 5 years, I've been helping hardworking Americans get all of these things in place with one single membership. If you want to learn more about that, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com. Again, that's myperfectmoneyplan.com. And you're going to get a team of professionals, so you're not building wealth by yourself. You're going to get a system that's going to help you transform your finances. And last but not least, you're going to get some great mentorship to help you execute your game plan. So again, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com, and I'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back from the break.
All right, welcome back to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast, and let me get Michelle off mute. There we go.
That was so wrong and hurtful. Where Lee? I'm telling. Where Lee at? Lee, get him. He ain't playing right. He acting like he a stranger in his own hood.
Michelle is trying to have breakfast on the commercial. Sorry, Michelle. I can't.
You show right.
Lee said go to another commercial so Michelle can finish her breakfast.
She cursed.
I can't see you, Michelle. So on my side, it's just black. But I see you're not frozen on the actual show, so that's good. But I can't see you for some reason.
Oh, you can't see me? Oh, okay. So I can do all kind of stuff. Can't
yeah,
see
but
me.
they can see you though. So you better be careful with that.
All right. Right.
Real quick, y'all. Michelle, I'm going to have you introduce our special guest, because I know she's a good friend of yours. Go ahead and bring her up, and I will bring her into the stream.
Okay, well, we are so honored and excited to have this young lady back on the show. She is a certified life coach, so she is going to be sitting in with us today to help weigh in on some of these questions, some of your comment, and give this. She's going to lend her expertise, to this subject matter because I think it's a very, very big deal. We talked about the mommy issues last week, dealing with the men and women as well. This week, daddy issues and females majority, but we'll work in the men a little bit because they crazy as hell too. Anywho, but I want you guys to welcome Melissa Lisa Wilson, certified life coach, y'all. Yay, welcome to the show.
Good morning, family. Good morning. Thank you for having me again. Mr. Cortez, good morning.
Good morning, Lisa. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you for asking.
Amazing. That's what I'm talking about.
Good morning, Miss Michelle.
Hey, girl. I'm trying to be amazing like you. Goodness,
Girl.
wake up in the morning. I woke up this morning like, but I'm trying to get to amazing.
You got to stay ready. You caught me off guard last time, so I had to be prepared this week. I got a whole different setup and everything. I'm ready.
She official. I'm in the office. The doctor is in. Oh man, well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're talking all about daddy issues and how it affects really both men and women a little bit. And so we've already heard a little bit from our listeners, our watchers, and okay, Cortez just kind of disappeared off screen. I don't know if he's still there or not, but that's all right. So we've already heard a little bit from our listeners. It's kind of weighing in. And really the consensus overall so far is that men can have just as many daddy issues as ladies. Now, being women ourselves, we know how it affects us personally. But weigh in for us, Melissa, a little bit on men that have daddy issues, some of the differences.
I was listening in to Cortez this morning, and I totally agree with what he said because it is not a normal taught thing for men to tap into their emotions.
Yeah.
So it is totally unforeseen. You can be going through a relationship with a man and there's so many issues and problems. And like you said, you wouldn't even know where to even start because it's a deep down rooted issue that men don't even like to even acknowledge. They don't like to acknowledge emotional dysfunction or emotional turmoil or emotional anything. You know what I mean? Because they're figuring he doesn't have an effect on me. They don't want anything to have an effect on them, so they don't deal with it. And so it turns into a lifelong issue that it's so hard to get to the root of it. And we as women in a relationship or a marriage with them trying to figure it out, but there's no way of us knowing unless they share that with us. So I totally agree with him on that. Totally.
Michelle. Cortez 1, Michelle 0.
But women do suffer. Women do suffer because that's on a whole nother round with the women. That's on a whole nother round because with men, it's a hidden thing. You guys can hide it pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Women, we all over the place because we're emotional. So we are up and down all around. You know what I mean? So it's an evenly playing field. But again, like Cortez said, men don't address it. Men don't acknowledge it. Men don't get to the root the way women do. Women want to be free. We don't like to be on an emotional roller coaster. Men suppress. They don't deal with. They don't tolerate. They feel like he didn't affect me. He don't make me no man. You know what I mean? But in all reality, absolutely, they play a very, very, very big part in a man's life.
Yeah. I think men are under the impression sometimes that if I ignore it long enough, it'll go away. No, like all of the issues. Yeah, like the other life and the secret wife and baby mamas you have on the side. I'm just ignore them.
But issue is a word that they don't want to use. Men don't want to use the word issue. We'll say we stick quick. I got a problem. I got an issue. Men don't like to acknowledge or use the word issue.
So not at all.
That's another big thing.
They run from that one. They run
I also think, let me just chime in here. I think the way we're wired, though, it's hard for a man to make the connection that something from 40 years ago, there's no way it's affecting me today, right? Yeah. It's hard for us to draw that parallel. Like, really, my dad didn't give me.
Oh, you cut yourself out again. I'm gonna finish his statement. Michelle was right. I was wrong. Michelle's right 90% of the time, and I feel like, hey, Cortez. Hey,
Houston,
I was disagreeing with you.
Houston don't like me that much. Yeah, but we can't make that connection that there's no way that today I'm being affected by the fact that my dad didn't love me when I was 2, 3, 4 years old, just the way we're wired. But really, because we have been taught to be detached from our emotions, we can't make that connection. So it's hard for us to say that's why today I act the way I do. But I know firsthand, man, it has a lot to do. I've come to that place and I've been able to make that connection, but a lot of men can't.
Man, yeah, there needs to be definitely something, services, well, I'll just say this without getting too deep because I think it'll be a can of worms. There should be something out there, services out there that specialize in helping men draw that out, like some type of men's organization. Like I know a few of them, but do they really help a man tap into the balance of showing emotion along with still being strong? Because a man could do both. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a few of those out there. I think Melissa, our little brother, Chris Hill, I think his organization, Man of St. Louis, I think they kind of do a little bit of that with what he does. But shout out to Chris Hill, who probably ain't watching, but that's okay. I'm gonna shout you out anyway. I still love you.
Amazing
I'm gonna shout you out
organization.
Anyway. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is. It's an amazing men's organization, and they're rooted with other men's organizations across the United States. That's what I love about it. And Chris Hill's a young man. He's still in his 20s, and he started this awesome group for men called Man Up St. Louis or Man Up STL, and they do a lot of things in the community, but they specialize in just helping men be men in totality. In totality,
from
not just the
personal
brawn.
to professional. From personal to professional.
Yes. So it's an awesome organization. Awesome organization. So we're gonna jump in with the female part of this for the daddy issue. So I was doing a little bit of research, and I came across this one definition of daddy issues because there's a lot of different classifications for it in the psychologist realm. But this one particular group of psychologists refer to daddy issues as the Electra in a woman. They refer to it as something called the Electra complex. And that's when a woman with this complex constantly seeks attention from men, right? And it's all, whether it's positive or negative, it's all in order to compensate for the absence of a father in the household, right? So there's always been, everyone knows that girl. Oh, she sleep around. She always in somebody's face. Why she so extra? She whatever. That complex, that absence of the father. Again, and we were talking about this at the top of the show, how a father is his little girl's first love. So that's where she learns how to, really learns how to value herself. Interacting. That's where, with. Go ahead. Yeah, the interact part.
Also with the man. You know what I mean? The expectation. I think the fathers set the expectations for the little girls to look in a man.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And if they're not shown that, they don't have that connection. It's in us, and it's the way God wired us as a part of the family unit, father, mother, children. Right. He wired, I think, females to have that connection. If we go all the way back, Adam and Eve was pulled out of Adam. You know what I'm saying? So I think that connection is there on purpose. And then a child, a little girl, that yearning or that desire for that connection with dad is so she can go find her Adam later on. You know what I'm saying? So when we definitely need
an example. Women, not little girls, need an example.
Definitely. We need to see it. And if we don't see it, then we have to come to our own devices. We'll be out there searching, making all the wrong choices, looking for love, and it just be a mess. So
roller coaster.
You hear me? So looks like Cortez, he popped off just a little bit. That's okay. We're gonna keep it moving. That means I get to say whatever I want. He can't mute me. He can't mute me. So another thing we wanted to look at, and again, if you guys have your comments, chime in still with your comments. Cortez is he's still here. We just gonna be creative in that. So I can still read comments on my phone. So I can still read comments. So if you guys have comments, definitely weigh in. We can, still want to share your comments on the air. But we're gonna keep this thing moving though. One of the other things that I wanted to kind of point out as well, Melissa, is a lot of times just stemming back to, we talked about kind of what the daddy issue is, where it stems from, it's the abandonment issue, right? When little girls feel abandoned, they feel that lack of that presence from the father. It's so pivotal. I would love to ask this question to the men, but I'm going to ask it to you as well.
Okay.
For men, have you ever dated, and you could chime in and answer this, for men, have you ever dated a woman with daddy issues? And if so, give us a couple comments on that. But Melissa, have you ever dated a man with daddy issues?
I have.
Okay. How did some of that manifest in your relationship?
A man can only do what they were taught and seen.
Yeah.
And so if they're not taught, or if it's not seen in a positive way, then it affects who they are, and they're basically winging it and they're guessing. And so a lot of men have a failure issue.
Ooh, girl.
Where they don't want to turn into what they didn't have. And majority of the time, what you don't want to repeat, you end up repeating because it's a natural thing.
Yeah.
In regards to fathers, if you didn't have your father and then you have children, it's, a man has to make sure they work hard at not being an absent father.
Yep.
And so it's a 50-50. You either going to repeat what you saw or what was done to you, or you're going to work hard at making sure you don't repeat it. And so for me, dating a man who didn't have a father, he didn't know how to be a father. He didn't know how to emotionally connect.
Yeah.
Because already they're not taught emotion. And so when you don't have the love and the example, that's really missing as well. Cortez is back.
Hey, Tizzy. Oh, Tizzy is back. Well, I tell you the truth. That's we was doing it over here. I was like, boy, Tizzy would be proud.
I had to switch to my phone because it's not letting the Wi-Fi is not picking up on my laptop. So here we go. But yes. I agree with you. I was listening, and you guys keep chiming in with your comments. Let me see what Corey Brown has to say. Let's see if I can bring Corey up. So true, because I can spot it when men tell me their life story, LL, but they can't make the connection and get offensive if you say anything until they are ready to admit that experience was a problemo. Yes, spot on, Corey.
Look, if I was in church, I'd be like, come on, Corey, you better preach, girl. I got the fan you on that one.
Right.
Until they're ready to admit it. OMG, did that thing last summer. Dated a guy that had daddy issues. He didn't know it. I saw it in him because he was trying so hard. Melissa, goes back to what you just said. You and Corey. Number one, he didn't admit it because I mistakenly, trying to be Dr. Phil's little sister, pointed it out. I think you got issues with your daddy. No, I don't. You lying. You don't even know my daddy. You don't know your daddy. What you talking about?
That's the problem. You don't know your daddy.
What you talking about? Getting all offensive. Get in your lane, dude. But sorry, Lord. Okay, so y'all pray for the saints. But he got offensive, so he didn't want to admit it. But then I tried to come in with the whole, you're trying hard to emulating your sons what your daddy didn't give you. People, and we talked about this at church. I forget, it was either Bible study or either in the church sermon. But when you are missing something, and you identify what you're missing, or you just feel the lack, you innately try to give others what you feel you didn't get.
Yeah.
And so this person constantly and his boys were grown. So he constantly stepped in to save the day for grown men. He constantly gave grown men what do you call trinkets, cars and clothes and money and this and that. And I'm like, these young men are in their 20s. You're not helping them when they get into trouble. I get coming to the rescue here and there. I get it. But every time they get into trouble, you're there to bail them out. They'll never learn the lesson and the value of being a real man because daddy always stepping in. Well, my daddy didn't. I get it. Right? I get that. So you're trying to provide them with what you didn't have in a father, but you're also coddling. You're also blocking them from life lessons that's meant to teach them and bring out that real man in them. You can guide them, but when you're almost 30 years old and you making still bonehead mistakes you should have been making the 17 and 18, and you 30 still making them same mistakes, and you stepping in to save the day as daddy, that's a cycle.
They're not learning the lesson.
They're rewarding bad behavior is what that's called.
Totally. But you're also setting up a cycle for when this man has kids, he's going to think that, oh, this is the way you do it. You know what I'm saying? So when he gets in trouble, and that's a cycle of young men going and doing, not having respect for law or morality. They're just going to go freely about and do what I want to do because, hey, daddy going to come to the rescue and there's no repercussion. He'll get me out. He'll fix it. That's not always the answer. I get riding for your kids because I've done it myself for my girls. But sometimes I gotta let them hit that head. Hey, let me give you a Band-Aid. I ain't finna get you out. Let me get you a tourniquet for that. Let me just, you broke your little self down. Let me give you that. See you later.
But you're to that point, you are so right that when we don't have the father, now some of us that has been the catalyst to finding what real fatherhood mean, right? I grew up, my father was killed when I was 11. And even before that, I had only lived with him 2 years, first grade and third grade. And even when I lived with him for those 2 years, he worked 2 jobs. He worked a 8-hour shift, and then he ran a nightclub. So I never saw him. So even though I lived with him for those 2 years, I can't tell you but a handful of memories that I ever had with him, just period. Right. But when you don't have that, this is the danger of media, because most of us men learn to be men from what media says a man is. And that's why we have over masculinized every action that we take. Because men, TV says a man is macho. There is only one way to be a man, and that is hard, hard, hard. But when you are not built that way, and believe it or not, most men aren't, right? But some of us have been able to better wear that facade that we learn from TV, so we have become that. But most men are not. And as a result of us following that macho path, we've created a fake man that exists, and it is hard to, it is hard to really come back from that and say, because that's what I had to deal with. I was like, man, who says that a man ain't supposed to cry? My damn foot hurt, and it's hurting so bad that I feel like crying. But listen.
I cannot. I love when she laugh. You tell it get good. It comes from all in here.
Listen, I'm about to kill myself trying to hold in these tears because somebody said that I ain't supposed to cry.
Right.
Well, I cannot with you. I cannot. I absolutely.
But we've got to come away from all of that, and we've got to define what a man is. Just like they keep saying black people is not a monolith. There's no one way to be black. There's no one way to be a man. There's no one way to be a woman. But we have this picture, and if you ain't this, then you ain't a man, and we've got to come away from that.
You just gave me the next idea for one of the upcoming shows. How to be black.
That was good.
How to be black. That right there, that'll preach. Cause you're right. There's more than one way to be black, and that's a whole other thing. I wrote it down. It's gonna be on the list. You're right, but I can't even do no more. I wanted to hit a couple of the telltale features. We've talked about a lot of them, but I wanted to talk about some of the tales in women, how you might know that, for men, how you know your female has daddy issues. Y'all pretty much can put it together because we had a moments like, I'm lonely, I love you, get away from me. You know, when we do that, you know what I'm saying? You be like, this girl crazy. If you ever looked at your woman and been like, she crazy as hell. She ain't crazy. She just got daddy issues. You know what I'm saying? She need to work through it. Right. You know what I'm saying? She ain't really crazy. She just need to think through some stuff. That's all. So I wanted to hit a couple of these, and they're going to intensify as we get to the bottom because, unfortunately, I recognize myself in some of these things towards the bottom, not towards the top. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, woo.
Real quick, before you do that, let me shout Corey out. She said, man, you cut up. That's why black men have high blood pressure, holding all those emotions and scars. Corey, you right, Corey. Man, they said we ain't supposed to cry, we ain't supposed to feel nothing, and this flame on my foot is hot, but I ain't supposed to feel it.
But you know what? That's why men have all the stuff that be wrong with high blood pressure, sugar, gout, all of that. You hold too much stuff. Corey, I think you just solved half of the problems in black men. Half the health problems. If y'all let it go and cry, you wouldn't have the gout. Okay.
Just have one good cry a month, and your pressure is gonna regulate. Your sugar is gonna be okay.
You will be constipated.
You won't be constipated. Come on, the whole thing.
That's a shame. Corey, that was Corey girl high five. She just came through with that. So I'm going to hit some of these pretty quick, just for the sake of time. How do you know that your woman or a woman you know has daddy issues? She jumps from relationship to relationship. She's sexually aggressive. No comment. She mainly dates older men. She's clingy and jealous. Who is that? What's her name? Or where you know her from?
Not jealous. Clingy, not jealous.
I might have exhibited some of them symptoms, both. And what's her name? And where you know her from?
Yeah.
You better. Or am I getting introduced, or do I need to introduce myself? I'll step right up in the mix. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?
I am the girlfriend, Michelle.
I am
Your first name became the girlfriend. Right. I am the girlfriend, Michelle Akins.
There it is, right there. She needs constant reassurance. I'm better. I'm better about that. Low self-esteem. Better about that.
Now, wait a minute. Let's peel that one apart a little bit. When you said constant reassurance,
yes,
and that's not just daddy issues, but that is, especially for our sisters, that is I am superwoman and I have to be because of our current circumstances, and nobody says so much as a thank you. So there's a lot there with Black women needing to be reassured all the time. Daddy issues is a big part of that, but y'all do so much, man, and sometimes we just don't say thank you. And I say we as men, but sometimes your children don't thank you. Sometimes the church don't thank you, and y'all make up the church. Sometimes the school don't thank you, and y'all volunteering at the school. Y'all baking cookies and all. So there's a lot of
that comes from a lack of appreciation. That comes from a lack of appreciation.
Yeah, you know, I was going to ask you, Melissa, speak a little bit about. I think that ties all of that wraps in together for a female self-image. You know,
absolutely.
Again, part of that come from daddy self-image. You know what I'm saying? It comes from our father You know what I'm saying? Or a father, but then it travels down to the earthly father. Self-image in a woman, how important is that, and how does that stem? How does that play out for a woman?
So for me, in regards to my view on it, again, when I was young, like Cortez said, my dad was in the household, but he was also always gone. He worked on the railroad. And so one thing he did teach me in his absence is love. And a woman needs to be taught what love is, seen what love is, and told that she's loved.
Yeah.
So you got to see it, you got to feel it, and you got to be told that you're loved. And that creates your self-image. It allows you to know who you are, you know what I mean? That creates everything. Of course, we got to know who we are in Christ Jesus. You know what I mean? But we're talking earthly. God is always love. He loves us, and we have to know that, and that's also learned as well. But with your father, your earthly father, it's so important because we as women need the clarification. We need the reassurance. We need, you know what I mean? Because we're emotional creatures. And so it stems from the beginning of your self-image of who you're gonna be, because your dad is your first interaction and encounter of who you're gonna have the example of. So if you didn't have your dad tell you I love you, if you didn't have the quality time with your father, not just seeing him passing, but if he didn't spend time with you, take you on dates, you know what I mean? You're not gonna know what that is, and you're not gonna know what that feels like. And so that's where you're searching and trying to get that. You know what I mean? So all of those, clingy and jealous, because you're clinging, you're trying to get something. You know what I mean? It's a feeling, it's an emotion that you're trying to fulfill.
Yep.
Nice.
So true.
Ivan on YouTube. Yes, we are on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com/St. Louis Hustle Podcast, we stream on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. Thank you for tuning in, my brother.
Thanks for tuning in, Ivan. These next three finna tear me up. If I fall off this chair, y'all just take over and ride this thing out. Because I might go in. I might take my own self in on these, because it was hard to type them. Because I was like, that's me, Lord. Why I gotta get rid? This for the people. I ain't part of the people. I'm part of the people. You're more comfortable seeking validation from an emotionally unavailable man than you are with being with a good guy who validates you. Good guys bore you.
Really?
I would just go ahead and tell the truth and shame the devil. I'm a work in progress. But yeah, I the whole bad boy thing, and I've done that. Now I'm better. But I know that I know I've dated some really good guys and got bored as hell. Be like, you know what, this is some bull, and I'm out. And I know that I've done that, and I know that I've hurt people, and I know that I've hurt feelings, because here's the thing: I don't even send you a text to be like, "Hey, I don't think it's gonna work." I just ghost you. It'd be like, where'd she go? Ooh, she's gone. Poof. And it ain't right. It ain't right, and that's an issue. I recognized it. Probably about 18 months ago, and because God allowed me to recognize it, he made me, I'm so glad, I thank God for this, I'm self-aware. So once I became aware of it, it gave me something to work on. So when I found myself doing it, so when I met the boring guy, I was like, I probably should really give this guy a chance, but I know I'm gonna get bored, so I'm gonna just go on back out early before we even get into this. Because I don't want to hurt. I don't want to keep leaving residue and bones behind. I don't want to. It's like a rap song. I don't want to keep doing that to people. I was Lil Wayne on like a bug. But so I didn't want to do that. So.
And then I think too, going back to the earlier comment about if you had daddy issues and TV told you this is what a man looks like, then if you ain't that, then you ain't even no real man, and me and you ain't going, because you ain't got this, you don't got this bravado, you don't have this macho, you don't have this edge to you, because TV says that's what a man is. And you, with your corporate white collar job, and you coming home at 6 and you want to have dinner by 7 and you want to watch a movie and go to bed. No, we need to be in these streets. this. We need to be in these streets. What are you doing?
That conversation. Stop reading my life. Oh.
Like, no, what is you doing? I'm doing a responsible thing here. What is you doing? It's like, no, we supposed to be out at 3 a.m. and barely make it into work tomorrow. You talking about going to work well rested, and you want to wake up early enough to work out before you go to work because you done had 6 hours before 5. No, what is you doing?
Oh. Wow, Lord. I knew it was going to read me. I knew it was going to, yeah. This next one, gonna hit me in the head again. You constantly involve yourself with emotionally unavailable and narcissistic men. That's another one. I know that Joker don't love nobody but him. Know that Joker is incapable of loving anyone else but him. He loves somebody, he just loves him the most. And why is that attractive to me? I don't. That should not be attractive to me. And yeah, that is that's ugly. I'm gonna hit this last one, and we're gonna go ahead and get Corey's comment. This one wasn't me. I can say this was not me, but I know some folks like this.
We'll be the judge of that.
You show what Houston got you clowned. You need to bring your behind back home. Lee, can you get him, please? Breakups aren't just devastating for you, they're catastrophic. They cause a ton of collateral damage, and you find yourself needing to seek validation from your ex like you need oxygen to breathe. Okay, maybe a little bit is it ain't been catastrophic, but I have found myself running back to my baby. I have one of my baby daddies just passed on, but my younger baby daddy, because Nana liked the boys. My younger baby daddy is a really good friend of mine. Like he's almost the best friend. I love him dearly. He's a good dude at his heart. But I found myself every time I go through a breakup, I run right back to him for that validation. Now he'll read me sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Be like, Shell, you knew better than that before you did it. You knew you should have did it. And he get hung up on. But it makes me feel good inside. That's the validation. I'll be like, I'll hang up on you in a minute. Oh, you go check. This is not about me. Click. It was about what Ramon did, not me. But I found myself running back to him because he will validate me and Shell, it's okay, and put your head here, and he helps me get back up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it just it's a cycle. It's a cycle. But I think once you admit it, going back to what Corey said the first time, once you admit it, that's half the battle, and then you can work on it. Lisa, any of these last points hit with you?
And again, your dad is the first example. So if your dad was never present, you're going to date that type of guy because you're used to that.
Yep.
If he was in and out, you're going to be attracted to the in and out because that's normal. That is a normal emotion that feels good. Even it hurts, but it feels good because it's normal. That's what you're used to. And so getting out of what you're not used to is uncomfortable, and that's what's hard. Like you said, the boring guys, that's uncomfortable for you. That's what you should be with, but that's uncomfortable because you're used to the not available, the in and out. You know what I mean? Physically being there sometimes, and most of the time he's not. So that's because we're dating our dad. We look for the type of guys that our dad was because that's what they introduced us to. Yeah.
What was Corey's comment real quick? I think she just piggybacked on what you said, Lisa.
Same thing. Subconsciously dating your dad. Me too, girl. Good. You can talk about it.
Okay. That's what. Yes. Okay. You have to set yourself free sometimes.
And that's it, man. Self-awareness is a mug. When you find, I have this thing that I say often, and I say it jokingly, but it's so real. I spent the first half of my life trying really hard to convince the world that I really was who I was pretending to be. And that's so many of us. And it wasn't until I got okay with Cortez. It's like,
really were.
Hey, let me introduce you to somebody. Cortez meet Cortez. Cortez meet the real Cortez.
Right.
I think if you give him a chance, you're going to like him. And that's what me shedding all of this a man's supposed to look like this. In particular, a black man's supposed to look like this. In particular, a black man with sons supposed to look like this. Like, nah, man, listen, this is who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am. If you don't like it, kick rocks. I'm going to do things the way I perform for an audience of one. And that is my creator.
Woo!
And if he's pleased, then the way you feel about it don't make no never mind, right? And I know a lot of people will say, well, right, a lot of people will say, well, what about your wife? I was like, well, she too is performing for an audience of one, and that one ain't me. She's performing for her creator. And because we serve the same one, we're going to be all right at the end of the day. But
you better say
you gotta get to the place where you are 100% comfortable with yourself first. Then eventually you will be confident in yourself. And when that happens, it's game on.
Look out, world.
And you have to also know that what you didn't get doesn't have to make you.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
Because a lot of people allow what they didn't get be their makeup.
Yes. They stay in that.
And
they live in it.
focus on the lack of instead of focusing on what they do have.
Yeah.
Because you can always change.
Yeah.
But if you stay stuck and focus on what you didn't get, that's why years and years and years and years go by and you're working on your damaged goods.
Yeah.
Because you're focusing on what you didn't get instead of focusing on what you do have and making that be your motivation of not living what you didn't have. Because we live what we had and what we didn't have.
Yes, that's so good. You know what? They focus on we're all broken, right? So they focus on the break itself instead of how mending the break, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? How to mend the break. We know that, you know what I'm saying, through emotional, especially spiritual connection with God, but also emotional connection with your loved ones helps you to mend the break. But if you just focus on the fact that there's a break there, it never mends. It stays broken if you never try to fix it. You know,
my
so
daughter
that
said something to me that was so profound because she's a daddy daughter. She's a daddyless daughter. Okay. She's a daddyless daughter. And so she's dated the same guy since 7th grade. Praise the Lord.
Okay.
She has the same boyfriend since the 7th grade. And we were talking one day and I was so emotionally, I'm so dramatic. I'm overly dramatic. So I was so emotional. I'm like, oh my God, daughter, you don't know how it feels to have a heartbreak. You've been with this one guy. And so I'm really emotional in regards to, if they do break up, how devastating it's going to be. And she was like, Mom, get yourself together. I did have a heartbreak. My dad broke my heart. He was my first heartbreak. If he doesn't want to be bothered with me, any guy who I'm in relationship with don't want to, it's going to be easy peasy. So you focusing on the relationship of me intimately, her focus was on her first love, which was her dad. So she already know how rejection feels.
Wow.
And so she like, girl, that's my motivation to be great. When I see him, it is not an option. I have to be great. She said, I'm going to shit on him every time I see him, is what she said.
Keep it 100. Keep it 100.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like, ooh, let me get it together.
Right.
So again, if we focus on what we didn't have and focus on letting it be your motivation to be a better you.
Yeah.
In my daughter word, you can shit on whoever it was that failed you. But then you're going to be prosperous and you're going to be great and you're going to be amazing because it's going to be motivation to you. If we switch that thing, we got to switch the way we look at it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, Corey. Thank you for tuning in and adding value to the show. She says, thanks. She's got to go. And speaking of which, we are right at the top of the hour. So I guess we'll get everybody's last words and we'll get out of here, man. Starting with you, Michelle.
Final words. Wow. At the end of the day, self-awareness is key. If you think there's a problem, there probably is a problem. Take the steps to secure, as a woman or a man, take the steps to secure your emotional and your spiritual health. You know what I'm saying? Get them health checkups. It's not just about your physical health, but it's about your mental and your spiritual health as well. Get those checkups so that you can stay balanced. Your balance will not just benefit you, but it's going to benefit those around you. Boom.
Yes.
There we go. Yes. Lisa, Madam Lisa.
Self-love is so important. And most importantly, if you can't do it by yourself, it's okay to go and speak with someone.
Yes.
It's okay to sit in somebody's chair. It's okay to sit on somebody's couch. Venting, whether it be speaking to someone or journaling. I always tell people to journal. Journal is an awesome thing because once you get it out, then you'll be able to acknowledge it, see it, and then be able to grow, to not, stay stuck in that place. So definitely self-love and self-acceptance. We always look for other people. We need to start with self. And speaking with someone, journaling, and being able to get good, positive spiritual feedback is a plus. It will create character. It will create, balance. And it's okay. It's okay to seek help for yourself.
Awesome.
It's necessary.
Awesome. I totally agree. Remember, guys, God created us to be independent as well as interdependent, right? There are some things we can do on our own, but really he created us all to be in one another's lives. And remember this, if you are not being the you that he created you to be, then you're probably throwing somebody else off that's supposed to be connecting with the real you. Right?
God,
you're repelling the person that's supposed to be in your life.
That's good.
Because you're being a phony. And you wonder why the people that's around you don't mesh with. Because they ain't supposed to be in your life. You attracted the wrong people because you being the phony you. When you be the real you, the right people show up in your life. And those are the people you're supposed to mesh with. So with that, man, we appreciate all of y'all for tuning in to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. Until we talk to you next week, we want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it. Each and every single one of you. Now hustle up.
Boom.